Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to the Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a wife, a busy mom of three, and the founder of the cutting-edge supplement brand, Accelerated Health Products. This podcast is more than just a source of information. It's a community for you and for those looking to optimize their health. I release new episodes every Monday and Tuesday live and a bonus one on Thursday. So remember to subscribe and add to your playlist so you never miss a show. And join my free group coaching on Telegram. There is no downside and there's no censorship. So we are able to speak freely and you can ask your questions. I post on a daily basis and the details can be found on my website, sarabantahealth.com. My goal, and I need your help, is to reach everyone who needs my message of healing. So help me with this goal by sharing this podcast with a few of your friends and loved ones. And together we can empower each other on our journey to optimal health. Today we are talking about hydration and electrolytes. And yesterday I was at a sporting event for my daughter out in the sun. It was gorgeous. It wasn't even too hot. And by the end of the day, I was parched. I was tired, I had a headache, and it's all because of hydration. It's not because of food. Yes, we need food, right? But you don't need food right now, right here. You will die without hydration and you will live longer without food. And there's a reason. So hydration is not, though, just about drinking water. In fact, just drinking water can actually dehydrate you. Hydration is about salt and water, not just sodium, but the complete salt with all the natural electrolytes balanced the way nature intended. And we've been fighting over salt for decades. And it wasn't about just any salt, the iodized salt or the table salt that we're talking about. We're talking about the salt that has all of the trace minerals from the seabeds, from the ocean. That salt in the ocean that makes your hair nice and crusty and your skin a little crusty, that's that salt, and your body loves it. So why is there so much confusion about salt? Well, in 1977, we've gone over this before, we received advice to eat a low-fat and low-salt diet. And the government led to push this low-fat, low-salt diet guidelines. They told us to eat 1.2 grams of sodium based on scientific opinions. And it really was wrong. Their requirements were eat a low potassium diet, be genetically susceptible. This was what was happening in the study. And they were showing that there was a rise in blood pressure from eating a normal amount of sodium. So this is where it all comes from, right? Well, salt was then wrongfully attacked in an unfounded 1984 NHANES study, and it further created this misnomer that salt was bad for us. Now, I have to tell my personal story about my son, who he's the one that survived and was cured of leukemia at the age of 9 due to the supplements that are now founded by Accelerated Health Products. At the age of 15, he was rowing. He was rowing at the national level. But one practitioner told us that he had way too much sodium in his blood. He needed to be on a low salt diet. So what was interesting, as we cut all of the salts out of his diet, and he was not on any processed foods even, but wasn't even using the real salt to salt his food, he still, just through pure will, was actually doing well. But he was not feeling great, but he was doing well in rowing. And his heart was stopping. Literally, he had to pound on his heart to get it going again. And they were saying that was because of salt. Well, on his scans, his salt level or his sodium level never changed when he was on his normal diet versus when he was on his low salt diet. Why? Well, the body's smart, right? The brain says, I'm not getting any sodium. I'm going to hold on to every little bit that I get in my body. So when we realized that the wrong thing to do was to cut salt out of his diet, and he started adding in the right salts and the electrolytes that we're going to talk about, his performance increased. But did his sodium level change in his blood? No, because his body said, oh, I'm getting plenty of it now. I don't need to hold on to every little morsel of salt that's coming in. So your body is going to do the same thing with water. That's why people who have edema think that they shouldn't drink water, but drinking water is actually going to flush out that fluid. And it's this whole cycle. And same with calories. If you're dieting and restricting, your body's going to hold on to every ounce of food that you put in your body, right? And even if you don't put food in your body, it's going to increase the stress, the cortisol that's going to pack on the pounds without a morsel of food coming into your mouth. Your body is smart. So with these studies, we were told to be on a low salt diet. Now, what was wrong is that there has been this unwarranted fear of salt, resulting in skyrocketing sales of statin and diabetes drugs. Now, what's interesting is salt helps with blood sugar and it helps with heart disease. Amazing, right? It's not coincidence. Low salt and no salt diets create unnecessary challenges with cholesterol, blood sugar, and compromising the functions of the cellular wall and its sodium-potassium pump. Since the sodium-potassium pump drives nutrients into the cells and takes the toxins out of the cells through the cellular wall of each of the 100 trillion cells in the body, or quadrillion cells, however many cells we have, we truly need to understand that salt and the importance of trace minerals. So it's not just water, it's salt. We need that salt. Farmers used to take salt tablets. There's a reason that they give you an IV of saline in the hospital, right? And there are only 5 grams of glucose in your blood at one time, while there's 16 grams of sodium in your bloodstream. Sugar is driving high blood pressure and heart disease, not sodium. The kidneys retain salt when you eat a high carb diet. When you're on a ketogenic or a low carb diet, your kidneys release that sodium and potassium. That's why when you join my Ascent Diet Cleanse, or you do any of the cleanses and you cut some of the carbs out of your diet, people feel great day 1 and day 2 and day 3. A lot of people say, Sarah, I hit a wall. I'm exhausted. Well, it's because you let go of a lot of your water and your salt, and you're not supplementing with the electrolytes. And that is why the electrolytes are in the cleanses, for that reason. Things that make you lose salt: exercise, hot weather, that low carb diet. You need it for brain and mental function. Table salt stored in mounds of salt domes with these seagulls and other bird droppings. So you got to know where you're getting your salt from. And iodine is another mineral missing from the diet. It is not in iodized salt as much anymore. Less than 20% of all table salt is iodized, and they're full of microplastics. So that's not where you want to get your iodine. Salt controls your potassium and magnesium balance, and no study shows that lowering salt causes an increase in heart failure, or lowering salt that it increases heart failure or mortality rate. In fact, lowering salt in your diet can increase all-cause mortality. Most people with a risk of heart disease are already on that medication that are like diuretics. These heart medications are making your blood like molasses, okay? They're taking the water out of your blood. Here we are talking about hydration and the importance of hydration and salt. And these drugs are taking the water out of your body. This doesn't work. And this leads to large retention of fluid to salt ratio, because the body is not able to pump that thick fluid around the body like molasses. Okay, so what are the benefits of hydration? We all know that there's benefits, right? But what are they? Adequate hydration supports physical performance. So your endurance, your strength, coordination during activities and exercises. Adding electrolytes or salt to a pre-workout drink can absolutely improve your workout performance. A lot of people are drinking coffee in the morning that's a diuretic with no salt. And yes, caffeine can blunt the pain of a workout, But if you add salt to that, or you drink a little salt in water in addition to your coffee, try it. I bet your workout goes better. It will help with temperature regulation. So just by being hydrated, because you're sweating and that evaporation, cooling, preventing overheating during physical exertion, if you don't have the water, the hydration in your body, it can't control your temperature. Water is essential for the transportation of nutrients, oxygen, and minerals throughout the body, and helps with the proper cell function. The cells cannot function without water, and it improves metabolism. So a lot of you are not drinking enough because you're retaining water and you feel fat. And then you think about the fact that by just drinking water, it will actually speed up your metabolism. So there you go. Hydration helps maintain joint lubrication and cushioning, promoting joint health and reducing the risk of stiffness and discomfort. It helps with digestion and the absorption of nutrients. Now, you don't want to drink a ton of water during a meal because that's diluting the stomach acid, and you need that stomach acid to break down the foods. But salt helps break down the undigested fats. That's why during this time after the spike protein, I've talked about the fact that a lot of you are having a hard time with high fat diets. That's why I do not recommend them for most people. But the accelerated salt can help break down those undigested fats. And that is really important. Hydration from the salt and from the water helps eliminate the toxins, the waste products through the urine, promoting kidney function and reducing the risk of kidney stones. If you're dehydrated, you're increasing your risk of kidney stones, especially if you're taking in a lot of oxalates. The electrolytes and the salt plump up the volume of the blood to easily eliminate the toxins. So you've heard me a lot of times talk about accelerdine iodine and the importance of iodine to detox the cells, right? Every cell membrane has an iodolipid, meaning iodine fat membrane, and that's saturated fat and unsaturated fat. This is why iodine is so important for the cell's membrane, right? So you need iodine to get the toxins out of the cells and the nutrients in, but you need that salt and that water to plump up the cells and the fluid to get everything moving. Hydration helps with optimal cognitive function. Have you ever thought to yourself, oh my God, I'm so tired, I have a headache and I can't think? That's hydration right there. It is really important for concentration, alertness, short-term memory. Mental tasks need more salt and water than ever. So if you're going through finals, if you're a student or you have a big work project or you're an athlete, you need more salt. It also supports the adrenals. Hydration contributes to your skin health, skin elasticity, moisture, healthy complexion. There's so many times when I'll go get a facial and the facialist will say, your skin looks super hydrated or you look super dry. Do you need some water? And it will be, your skin is a window to your internal health in so many ways, and hydration is one more way. It helps with weight management. Drinking water before meals can help control appetite and reduce caloric intake. A lot of times you think you're hungry, but you're only thirsty. The hunger signals and the thirst signals in the brain are very close to each other. And a lot of times your sugar cravings are actually salt cravings. So make sure before you go for the brownie, put a little salt on your tongue and have some water and see if the craving goes away. Now, if it doesn't, still have the brownie, or maybe not, but find a healthier snack. But you want to make sure you're having enough salt and water. It helps with heart health. Maintaining fluid balance is crucial for cardiovascular health. That's why I don't understand these drugs that take the water out of the blood. It doesn't make sense. And what they're doing essentially is they want to lower blood pressure, right? And so they're slowing down the blood pressure, right? Slowing it down. But what they're doing is they're making your heart work a lot harder because the blood is like molasses. So a deficit in salt or electrolytes can actually cause high blood pressure. Dehydration is a common cause of headaches. In fact, drinking enough water like electrolytes with magnesium and sodium and potassium are the number one cure for migraines, and it will help with most headaches. Hydration will also help with mood and energy. Mild hydration can lead to feelings of fatigue or irritability. And even just yesterday, I experienced it with one of my children, the one that was the athlete. She did a great job, long day. We were both in the sun and I was the spectator. She was doing the work. So she kept looking at me and she goes, "Mom, I'm starving. I'm starving." Well, she also hadn't had enough water and electrolytes and she was snappy. And there's no wonder, right? She's snappy because she's fatigued, she's irritable, she needs hydration and salt. So, what are the different types of hydration? It's not just that simple. Intracellular, inside the cell, and extracellular, outside the cell. Both are important, but intracellular hydration is what most people think about when we're talking about the benefits of hydration. I've talked about the in-body scan or a DEXA scan. Those can tell you how much intracellular hydration you have versus extracellular. Extracellular is needed to remove waste and toxins from the body, but it's also a sign of inflammation. So if you can't pull your rings off or if you just feel puffy, that's extracellular hydration. Intracellular hydration refers to the water content inside the cells of the body, and it's crucial for maintaining various physiological processes. So what does it do? Cellular function. It's essential for the normal functioning of the cells. It serves as the medium for biochemical reactions, facilitates the transport of the nutrients and the waste products inside and outside the cells, like we've talked about. It helps with maintaining osmotic balance within the cells. And osmosis is the movement of water across the cell membranes to equalize the concentration of solutes inside and outside the cells, and it's super important. It helps with cellular metabolism, and that includes the breakdown of nutrients and the production of energy, ATP. I've talked a lot about ATP. You got to get your mind around ATP. ATP is true cellular energy. Whether you are listening to an advocate of the keto diet, the paleo diet, or vegan diet, the high carb diet now, it's all about ATP. The goal is to increase ATP, which will increase detoxification, your immune system, your metabolism, your thyroid health, the fat burning, all of that. It's ATP. Well, intracellular hydration is integral for that ATP. Cell volume. Okay, so the cells have mechanisms to regulate their volume, and water plays a key role in this process. So you need the water inside the cells for their structure and for the proper functioning. And intracellular hydration is closely linked to the balancing of the electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, potassium, and chloride. So you've got sodium and chloride that are kind of teeter-totters, and magnesium and potassium as well. I'm sorry, sodium and potassium, and then magnesium and chloride. And the sodium potassium pump, which we're going to go into in a minute, are very important for that balance. Water is necessary for efficient cellular communication. So the communication between the cells, so the cells know what each other are doing, the transmission of signals within and between cells, it relies on water as a medium for various molecules involved in the process. Water is involved in maintaining the structural integrity of DNA and RNA, which is really important for longevity and overall health. And like I mentioned, it's really important for temperature regulation of the body. Okay, so what happens when the body doesn't have enough salt? The body will literally pull magnesium and calcium and sodium and potassium from the bones to trick it into believing it has enough magnesium and calcium. So I love that people take their calcium pills, right, for their bone health, but they're on these acidic processed food diets that are pulling the calcium and magnesium and all of it out of the bones, and as a result, it will stop further absorption of those minerals. So you don't want to be on a calcium supplement. Calcium constricts. Calcium can cause heart attacks. Most people have enough calcium in their bodies. It's just in all the wrong places. We just need to get it to the right places. So in order to hold on to more sodium, the body will sweat out more magnesium and calcium. Aldosterone, a stress hormone, increases that, and it will kick out more magnesium. Stress requires more salt. The increase of stress hormones stiffens the arteries and increases chronic hypertension. There's a 5% higher heart rate when the body is salt deficient, and only an insignificant 1% reduction in blood pressure. So there you go with the risks of heart disease with salt. Without enough salt, there's an increase in insulin resistance and risk of diabetes. That is part of the reason that diabetes and insulin resistance has skyrocketed. Now, there's a ton of other reasons: radiation, processed foods, the toxins, all of those things cause insulin resistance away from just pure sugar. Low salt increases your triglycerides. Without salt, the body's salt gauge may get hijacked by sugar, drugs, or alcohol, and that's going to increase the risk of addiction. So like I said, the wires get crossed. Your brain's like, do I need sugar or do I need salt? And it thinks it needs the sugar or the drug. So side effects of low electrolytes. Like I said, you don't just need water, you need those electrolytes. Muscle cramps, and I get them. I get them at night, and if I do, I have to get up and I take an extra source of my electrolytes. I work out every day. I use the sauna, so I need extra electrolytes. I do a lot of work and use a lot of brain power during the day. I need more electrolytes. I sometimes go for walks in the sun. I need more electrolytes. So you have to look at your daily activities for how much electrolytes you need. And if your muscle cramps are occurring in your legs, that definitely is a sign you need more electrolytes. Just weakness or fatigue, like I mentioned, you're not able to finish your workouts, irregular heartbeat. So this is what was happening with my son, and his heart was literally stopping. But we were thinking, or we were told, that it was too much salt, but it was a balance. He needed more potassium, more sodium. He needed all of the electrolytes, not just sodium. Electrolyte imbalances can cause vomiting or nausea. That's why if you just put a little of the accelerated salt on your tongue when you're nauseous, or if you're trying to intermittent fast a little longer, it will help take away those symptoms. Low electrolytes can cause confusion, just dizziness in general, lightheadedness, headaches, like I mentioned, excessive thirst. So you might be drinking a ton of water thinking it's all about the water, but it actually is the electrolytes. And fluid retention or edema. Maybe your ankles look fat. That is your body holding on to excess water because it doesn't have the electrolytes to move the blood and move that fluid out of the body. Frequent urination. So if you're low in potassium, that can lead to increased urination and constipation or diarrhea. There's something called salt flushes. If you really take in a ton of the good salts, like the accelerated salt full of 62 minerals, a lot of it with a ton of water, it might trigger diarrhea to flush out your system. People do it on purpose. Seizures. So extreme low electrolytes can contribute to seizures. So we talked about the sodium potassium pump. And I don't want to go through all of the mechanisms, but it is a vital mechanism that maintains the electrochemical gradient across the cell membrane in all of us, in us and animals. It plays a crucial role in a lot of physiological processes. Essentially, you've got potassium and sodium on the inside and the outside of the cells, and it's allowing the nutrients in the cell and the toxins out. And it's helping with ATP. And there's this whole process that it just keeps cycling over and over again. And if you want the details, make sure you check out the article on sarabantahealth.com. So by activating this pump, you've got 3 sodium ions out of the cell and bringing 2 potassium ions into the cell with each cycle. The sodium potassium pump helps establish and maintain that electrochemical gradient. So there you go. And it helps with the nerve pulses and muscle contraction. Now, like I mentioned, Too much water can cause dehydration. Since water dilutes salt, drinking too much can mimic having insufficient electrolytes. So you literally can die from too much water, right? So you will have this cellular swelling or increase extracellular hydration, and that's going to compromise your cellular hydration. So what are the supplements to optimize hydration? What's interesting is iodine actually hydrates the cells. It not only hydrates the body, but it acts as a neutralizer for hydroxyl ions that contributes to cell hydration. Its ability to eliminate oxidative stress stems from countering hydroxyl ions, which are really bad free radicals, resulting in a distinct antioxidant impact. And iodine presence prevents the formation of hydroxyl ions when combined with active oxygen, leading to the creation of H2O, water. This becomes crucial as many diseases are linked to dehydration. And Dr. Brownstein, who will be on my show tomorrow, make sure you tune in for the importance of iodine, suggests that iodine surpasses vitamin C, E, and a whole bunch of other vitamins as an antioxidant. So through iodine supplementation, both antioxidant activity and immune system are enhanced. And of course, it increases ATP by 18 times. So you're getting 36 ATP per mitochondria. And remember, on the cell membrane, you have iodo-lipids, right? In the saturated fat layer and the unsaturated fat layer. And with all of the linoleic acid and the omega-6 fatty acids that people are talking about, I've talked about them in the processed foods, in the PUFAs, in the canola oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, but in the chicken and the pork, all of those unsaturated, unstable fats, they have a higher iodine value. So iodine stabilizes those and gets them out of the body. So this is one more function of iodine on top of increasing metabolism, thyroid health, brain activity, mood, depression, and just overall cellular health, fat oxidation. So iodine is essential. It helps detox the cells, and it helps get the nutrients in past that cell membrane because of the iodo-lipid layer on the cell membrane. And it gets in there into the mitochondria to boost the ATP to 18 times higher than without iodine. Okay, so now we're going to get into salt and the accelerated ancient salt. I will not be without it. It comes in the table shaker size that's in every place I can go. It also comes in the refill. I mean, this is the most beautiful, amazing salt that I use it for baths. I use it for helping with nausea. I use it for my food, and I carry it around in my little salt sample in my purse, so I always have it. But we want to talk about the fact that not all salts are the same, and there is Himalayan salt in there, and then there's salts from the Andes in Utah. And most Himalayan salts are contaminated. Because of their mining processes, they use explosives. So there's residue in the mining, and a lot of Himalayan salts actually aren't even Himalayan salt. They're just marketed as it. And a lot of Himalayan salts also have high levels of fluoride. Fluoride's known to be a neurotoxin, and a lot of these salts are not quality controlled. So just something to think about. With the purity of the accelerated ancient salt, we have hand-picked, hand-mined every grain, and it is vigilantly inspected, mined deep enough where there is no man-made sediments or explosives. And we go through every little piece, and it's free of shells, rocks, plastics, microplastics, pollutants, and all of that. So it has been certified. And then we enhance it with scalar frequencies to help detox the body, improve that intracellular hydration. It holds a negative charge. All of the things that are bad for you have positive charge. Toxins, fluorides, heavy metals, radiation, medications. So it literally has a negative charge to help eliminate the positively charged toxins, parasites, undigested fats. That's why if you just put a little bit on your tongue when you're nauseous or when you're eating and you put it on your food, it's going to help break down that fats and help with digestion. Now, the salt iodine adrenal connection. Literally, if you had to live on a deserted island with three things, you would want water, salt, and iodine. Salt is the most important adaptogen for the adrenals. When the body's salt deficient, it becomes hypovolemic, which means low in fluids or dehydrated. And it is necessary to be normovolemia, meaning properly hydrated with normal fluids, to help dilute the waste and remove them from the body, remember? So if you don't have that normal volemia, then your blood is going to get thicker and dirtier and more toxic. Estrogen dominance goes up, chronic disease increases. When the body is salt deficient, it holds about 10.5 gallons of water on the average adult. Dehydration from a lack of salt causes the body to release vasopressin and histamine. That's why iodine is actually antihistamine. And this will literally close off the less important capillaries, so like in your fingers and your toes. Otherwise, blood pressure would plummet trying to fill up the blood circulatory pathways. Salt plumps up the circulatory highways, including the capillaries, the arteries, and the veins. The adrenals produce aldosterone, which is for balancing cellular osmotic pressure in the body, and that osmotic pressure involves the fluids. So aldosterone can only do so much if the body's salt sufficient and low in bodily fluids. So in other words, aldosterone cannot manage osmotic pressure when the body's deficient in salt and fluid. Salt is imperative for kidney health, which is directly related to the adrenals. The kidneys balance acidity of the blood, the dirty blood, and that can become acidic due to a salt deficiency, which taxes the adrenals and the kidneys. The adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. I always know that I am super stressed when I'm retaining water because my kidneys will become inflamed, holding up my adrenals. So the kidneys and the adrenals are very interrelated. With salt deficiency, the adrenals have to produce 7 hormones in order for the kidneys to be able to reabsorb that precious salt that would otherwise be urinated out. And those include all the stress hormones, including epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline, noradrenaline. So producing these hormones use up a lot of that energy and a lot of the mitochondria producing that ATP. And that is the number one reason for mitochondrial failure is iodine deficiency because of this reason. If the body's deficient in salt, then the iodine reserves are burnt up rapidly to produce this overabundance of these stress hormones. So salt, iodine, water. Okay. So with that salt, you've got the accelerated ancient salt. How much are we supposed to have a day? We're told no more than 2 grams a day, but we really need 3 to 6 grams of sodium a day, which equates to about 1.5 to 1 3/4 of a teaspoon a day. Do I tell you to measure out and make sure you're not taking too much accelerated ancient salt? No, because your body's going to tell you. And really, with all of the balancing of the 62 minerals in the accelerated ancient salt, you can't overdose. During exercise, you lose about 1.5 or 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of salt per hour of exercise. And if you're exercising in above 80 degrees, then you need to take 1/2 teaspoon of salt with 12 ounces of water about every half hour that you work out. So it will do wonders. It will actually increase your workout time by about 21 minutes, according to studies. It increases your plasma volume, which cools you down and your heart rate will lower. And literally, it is the ultimate pre-workout supplement. Gatorade, nothing. You shouldn't be drinking Gatorade. I actually had this conversation with my daughter yesterday. Full of microplastics, and the ingredients can actually dehydrate the cells. Okay, in addition to the accelerated ancient salt, you've got the quintessential. And it comes in these little packets. It tastes like seawater. It's referred to as the tonic. You just open it up and put it directly in your mouth. You leave it in your mouth for about a minute and then you swallow. It is the exact concentration of our blood plasma. So our body sees it and goes, oh, I know what this is. I love it. I want it. It is the way God intended. It is nature's vitamin, right? Seawater contains all of the minerals needed by the human body. It's just like the accelerated and ancient salt coming from the oceans, coming from nature, the way in the balance of the electrolytes, the way God intended. So it helps with restoration, normal digestion. It helps with the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. It helps a lot of people with their immune system, bringing them back to life. Energy increases energy, helps with illnesses, immune system, stress response, sleep cycle, calms the body before bed. If I go to bed and I start getting muscle cramps and know that I'm low on electrolytes, I'll wake up and I'll grab a quench, as I call them, and put it in my mouth and go to bed, and I'm fine. And the cramps go away. It's that quick. You also have the wild light. So a lot of electrolyte formulas or pre-workout formulas have a lot of fake ingredients or ingredients that disrupt the sulfur and oxalate detox pathways. We talk a lot about sulfur and oxalates because of GMOs, radiation, the toxins in our food, and now the spike protein. Those pathways are more sensitive and backed up than ever before. That's why it's super important to be doing detoxification. But the wild lights has ingredients that don't disrupt these and actually help with that detoxification process. So same thing, muscle cramps, immune system, helps with the mineralization, helps regulate oxalate and sulfur and uric acid metabolism, lymphatic drainage, histamine issues. So that's another one. And do you need all of them? Well, I use all of them because I enjoy all of them, but I also use up a lot of electrolytes every day. Like I've told you, I work out, I sweat, I do sauna, I'm in the sun. So the more you do and the more brain power you use, the more electrolytes you need. Now, Olaloa is a little different. Olaloa provides hydration and detoxification, and it comes in these little packets that you can put in your water. Great pre-workout. I actually put this, my methylene blue, and my salt all in my pre-workout, and I feel amazing. But it is like a multivitamin. So a lot of electrolyte formulas, like I mentioned, have ingredients that actually block the detoxification pathways. Well, Olaloa is designed to support methylation, homocysteine, and detoxification. It has amino acids, vitamin C, glycine, TMG, and even coenzyme Q10. So a lot of things in there. I consider it as my multivitamin. So those are the top supplements you can use for hydration and electrolytes. But what lifestyle changes do you need to make? Eliminate those processed foods. They contribute to dehydration. They're backing up your kidneys. They're causing your kidneys to retain a ton of bad water, that extracellular hydration. And these foods contain high levels of sodium, the plastics, the microplastics filled salt and sodium, artificial additives, preservatives, and all of that can lead to imbalances in electrolytes. Sodium in these processed foods draws out the water out of the cell and into the bloodstream, increases the need for additional water, and it's going to also cause your sugar cravings to go up, right? So processed foods literally steal your ATP, pack on the pounds, cause malnutrition, so many things, and 70% of the typical American diet is processed foods. So if you have to open a package, it's processed food. Even if it says organic, keto, low carb, whatever, it is processed foods. Try to stick to the whole foods. And you want to focus on the wild animal protein. So bison, grass-fed beef, elk, deer, Cornish game hen, wild fish, they have more nutrients than any other food on the planet. Our soils are depleted of all these minerals that we're talking about that we need. And so the wild animal protein is your best bet in getting these proper nutrients, the iron, the magnesium, even the vitamin Bs, all of that, you will eliminate your cravings for the processed food that steal the electrolytes out of the body and cause that intracellular dehydration. Lastly, you want to adjust your water and electrolytes according to your daily activity. So think about it. What are you doing during the day? If you are in the sauna, if you're working out in high heat, or if you're just outside, it is really, really important to hydrate more with those pre-workouts, with the electrolyte supplements, using just a little salt. Like I said, I just carry around my salt everywhere I go. I also carry around my accelerated iodine everywhere I go, because then I have everything I need, right? I've got my iodine, my salt, and hopefully I'll have my water. Hydration, I want to just touch on the fact that a lot of you are like, and I even have a family member that is afraid of drinking water because she feels like she gets puffy and retains water and bloated. That is your body telling you you're dehydrated, and it's not going to trust you until you let go and you start hydrating with the proper electrolytes and the water, and then it will let go of the edema. But you can also add in accelerated thyroid for your thyroid health, because if your thyroid is sluggish and you're suffering from hypothyroidism, you're going to have edema. You're going to have that extracellular hydration. Conchinara in the accelerated thyroid is known to detox the thyroid, support metabolism, but help with that water retention. And it also dissolves thyroid cysts as well. So it will help with that water retention. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you're going to go grab a glass of water and put some pre-workout in there, put some electrolytes, the accelerated ancient salt, and let me know what you've learned. Thanks for tuning in today. If you need my help, you can contact me through the website, sarabantahealth.com. Happy to put together a protocol just for you. And join my free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. There is no downside. You can find the tips on, or the link on my website as well, sarabantahealth.com. You'll be surrounded by a community of people who are on a similar path as you. And of course, don't forget to follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products for more insights. You can catch this podcast on over 100 platforms, including Spotify, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Just search Accelerated Health TV and Radio Show. And I'm on a mission to share my healing message with everyone who is ready to listen. So help me with that goal. Share this podcast with a few of your friends who may need my help. And remember, I'm live every Monday and Tuesday. Tune in tomorrow for Dr. Brownstein for the importance of iodine, as we've talked a lot about it today. And he's also an expert on salt. We will get into that on a future podcast. And be sure to visit the website, sarabantahealth.com. Use coupon WELCOME10 to get 10% off your first order. Thanks for joining us here, and have a great week.